Hi everybody, I'm Trin Johnson and this is Dust in My Eye. Today I'm doing something a little bit different and I'm going to do a tour of my main studio. I have 3 places in my home where I like to create, and one of them is here in my big studio, and then I have one downstairs where I do a lot of my creating, and then I have one in my bedroom where I do a lot of my filming of my painting, watercolor painting and pastel paintings. And this room, as you can see, I use a lot for sewing and some painting and painting with my alcohol inks. That is in here. So I also have a lot of yarn and knitting and things like that in here. So this was a quick little circle around, bringing us to the door. So this is where I'm going to start. This is the door into the bedroom that I call my studio. And these are all my bags hanging on the back of the door. And the cute little one that's with the sewing machine on it has a bag in progress that's been in progress since 2020. I bought the fabric in New York at Pearl Soho, and I will finish it. I had to wait for a zipper to come in, and once the zipper came in, I kind of lost steam on it, and I haven't gotten back to it. Might be that I have an awful lot of bags, and I just couldn't bring myself to work on it. Up there, I have a credit card painting that I did. We had a thing called our O'Donnell Family Art Challenge during COVID, and that was one of our challenges, was to paint with credit card. And then I have a print of a beach scene I painted also right there. This is my bulletin board that's just like a bulletin board. Got all my bits and scraps and mementos and things I need to remember. Very utilitarian. That's an alcohol ink painting of mine that I really like. I have this cool thing hanging here that has got twinkle lights on it, and the twinkle lights might go up on the bookshelf, but right now they got puddled in that. It holds my my fabric pattern weights. You can see the little pattern weights. So that's what's in there. And then I have a bookshelf right here. And I have a lot of my art books, but I also have a lot of art books downstairs in my husband's office because we both went to art school and we have a lot of art books. We met at art school. We met in a life drawing class at Michigan State, and an interesting way to meet your husband to be. Anyway, so this is sketchbooks that I've completed. The next shelf is my journals. All the ones to the left of the space are completed. The ones to the right, except for the yellow one, are new ones. And then a bunch of knitting books and more knitting and crafting books are down on the next shelf and the next shelf. So I couldn't fit all the art books up here, and they're kind of in his space too anyway. This is a cute little book. I'll show you that sometime when I do a sketchbook tour. It's a zigzag book, kind of accordion style. And this little cart I got at an antique mart. We have a local antique mart, and it rolls really nicely. On the bottom, I have a box that has all my little artist trading card blanks, like that haven't been used yet. And in the black box, it's full of miscellaneous boxes, plastic containers, things like that don't have anything in them. And this book was a book I got when I was, 6 years old. Came with a paper doll in the back, and I just loved the heck out of this book. As you can see, it is well used, and it's just full of really beautiful watercolor illustration, what pen and ink style, and just really a neat book. Anyway, I like to have this. I can roll it around to wherever I need it to be. I can roll it out of my way, which is what I need to do right now. I have up here a box full of push pins. I have a pot rack that I use to hold all my watercolor pads and pastel papers, and it works pretty good. And then I have a little plug strip stuck in the side. And I think I'll back up and try and give you an overview of this whole unit. I make monsters, and I make them out of old felted sweaters. And I needed a space to put all the old felted sweaters, so my husband built this for me to my specifications. So I'm going to show you what's in one of these boxes. And I'm going to insert some pictures of the process I went through to get these all sorted out into their little sections. But see, this is all full of felted sweaters ready to go to make monsters. This is the pink container. I have a red, orange, blues, and turquoises, and greens, and sleeves only, and Fair Isles and stripes, and all sorts of boxes. And then up here, I have fabric boxes that have all my pieces of fabric in them, all color coordinated. And I use these on my monsters. I use them for ears, and I use them for noses and patches, and sometimes hair, anything that I need fabric for. And then up in these containers, I have all sorts of things like yarn and rib knit and some jewelry making stuff, and oh gee, all sorts of things. I'm gonna get one of these down for you. This one is full of all these bits and bobs and pieces that I've cut off of old bags and such. Any little hardware that thought might be useful for years is in here, and any little pieces like that that I've purchased. So that's kind of fun. And then I have these containers down here that are full of shoelaces, which I use in my monsters a lot. Any kind of interesting little yarn or string, anything like that is in there. This has got raffia kind of like strings. This has got more pattern weights in there. This has got all this kind of string is in there. Couple patterns out. We're expecting a new grandbaby soon, so those are sitting there. Shoelaces, zippers, sorted bits of this, that, and the other thing. This one's full of lace. This one's full of fringe. This one is full of cording for necklaces and stuff like that. Then I have, the top one on the left has serger thread in it, and that has metallic pleathers and things in it. I know the one on the end is full of stabilizer and interfacing, that kind of thing. So that's what's all up there. And then I have my cozy little chair. And behind my little chair, I have stuff in the bottom container that's on rollers, and that's full of things I use to make monsters. And the next two are full of fabric, decent sized fabric that I've purchased fairly recently. And the top container is full of paintings, pastel paintings and watercolor paintings and oil pastel paintings, and they're all in bags. The pastel paintings are all in their own separate bag with in a plastic container, all neatly so they won't get smushed. Then I have some more artwork. My tubes in the corner, my insulation tube for cutting up to use for pastel painting. You use it to smooth things, and it works really well. And then the blue thing has separators for when you frame a pastel piece, because you have to keep it up away from the glass, and that's got clear plastic little skinny things in it for framing. And then some more. That blue flower is an alcohol ink piece, and there's assorted pieces here, all different kinds. And then I have my IKEA string wire thing for photographs that I have paintings hanging from. And the ribbon that's over my windows was at the dollar store near here, a special dollar store. It's called Debbie's Dollar. And I thought it would be useful, and then I just didn't know what to do with it, so I hung it all up there, and it's kind of become my curtains. This is a watercolor. That's a tree monster. I have my little person stand here thing for sewing. I know it has a name, but I'm not going to try that hard because I can't think of what it was. Little ironing board. The orange bag is full of watercolors. It's my big travel watercolor bag. The reddish colored one in front of it, kind of purpley, is full of gouache. And the black one that's laying there is full of pastel. It's my little pastel travel bag. This ironing board that I recovered with Legend of Zelda fabric, it was my grandmother's, and my husband rigged it so that I could put it on my corner of my table without harming the table. And it folds down, if it's hardly ever down though. And I have my iron and this cute little planter that's full of books that have monsters drawn in them. Most of them are monster books. And then I have my Star Trek, what do you call it? Light thing that you hang in your window. And my daughter gave it to me. And I have my white serger thread serger up here. And then I have underneath, I don't know if you can see it, my serger that has black thread. And then I have my black threaded machine and my light, and I have my white threaded machine and all my thread. Really helped to get it all on there, I have to say. And anytime I'm sewing a dark thing, I go to the dark machine, and then sometimes I can just trade out the top color. I don't have to trade out the bobbin. Up here, I have a toothbrush holder that I keep my church keys and a pair of good scissors in. That's also full, this basket's full of all sorts of sewing bits and bobs, and so are all the little cups are full of little sewing things. And the red box is full of more thread. It's my not Gutermann kind of thread. It's like Coates and Clark and that kind of thing. This was my husband's grandfather's box, so that's kind of a cool thing to have. And I've got some really neat balls of yarn that I got at special places or that were particularly colorful. An owl we used for a Harry Potter wedding shower, and glass containers full of other little bits and bobs, little wool balls. I've got a whole bunch of Star Trek signed pictures. Picture of George Takei. Dax with my husband dressed as a Viking. He got that picture taken for me. And then up above is my full-on Star Trek memorabilia kind of stuff. My Borg bear and my Spock bear and Klingon and Ferengi, all sorts of things. Some other stuffed things and some trophies from a vocal contest that I was persuaded to do with my daughter. This is a cute little box that was my mother's, and there's all sorts of things in here, seam rippers and needles and sewing machine needles, that kind of stuff. I think I have pins. That's a presser, a weird foot, a sewing machine foot. These are magnetic snaps. Let's see, that one's full of sewing machine hardware, screwdrivers and such, and presser feet. Some of my presser feet. I have a big, huge thing of presser feet too. It's this old pipe stand humidor is where I have my scissors. And my friend gave me this cute cup, but it had a crack in it, so I couldn't drink out of it. So I just use it up here because I see it every day. And cute little bird's got little ribbon bits in it. There's some extra thread. A weird rock I found on the beach that looks like a shoe, like the sole of a shoe. So that's kind of fun. This little box here I got at Marshall's, and it had no knobs on it. So I got it cheap and put knobs on it. More thread, and in the box underneath, more serger thread. And then we have my little Legend of Zelda guy and this cute poster that somebody got me for Christmas. I think my son did. Bought this really nice plant at Aldi and thought, wow, that'll be really nice downstairs. And then all my kitties decided to try and eat it and throw it up. So it had to come up here. So a good friend just gave me this really cool plant stick. She sells in her Etsy shop, and she was one of my art students. And she gave me a bunch of goodies. I stuck him in there, or her. I saw her. More Star Trek fun up there, and more my ribbon curtains. Then there's my what's it called? I think I remember it. Sky float. It's a sky float, and it's really nice because it hooks to the ceiling magnetically, so I can pull it from here into my bedroom when I'm filming my watercolor videos. That's my view out my window, the cul-de-sac. Then I have some paint brushes in here. I don't paint in here very often, but once in a while I do. And some nice things to use as paint palettes. This is actually a pad of paper that my daughter made me. It's not really candy. That's in another place. Anyway, Doctor Who pen holder. This is where my alcohol ink stuff happens. And I'm going to move my light. Maybe that will help see a little bit better. Got these cute little dishes at American Scientific, I think it's called, in Chicago. It's full of like little eyedroppers and overalls and masks and gadgets and things that were like surplus, and it's just a really fun store to go to. And this is where all my alcohol ink stuff is. This little box I use for the stinky paper towels if they smell a lot like heavy alcohol, and that gets them kind of sealed in where it won't stink a lot. It doesn't bother me a whole lot. I know a lot of people are bothered, but I have a window right here that I can just throw open, and when I'm working for any length of time, I'll do that. These are my extra markers. And then I have a big box of extra markers because my husband is an industrial designer and he used to do a lot of marker work. So we have a lot of markers. And then I have my nice sets of alcohol markers. That cute little, it's a magnet actually on the front of that box. Another thing that my friend made. It's really cool. She's Michelle with one L, or it's only one L or something like that. Really cool. That's her post. Yeah, she gave me a calendar for. And Christmas underneath this cute little calendar, I have the box with the magnet on it. That, if you don't tell anybody, it is my stash of goodies. And let me get that out of the way. And then in this box, I have all my jewelry making tools. Hammer or mallet, really nice pliers. These are really cool pliers because they squeeze evenly. They're not on an angle. Anyway, all sorts of things in here. Wire cutters and little bead holders and all sorts of things. So that's a nice box. Then I have my cool blue anvil I think I got it in Canada at a garage sale or a flea market. And then this little guy is for bracelets. And I've got a third hand there. That's what this one is. And then this is a clamp that works nice to hold things. And then another little baby anvil. And some rulers. And so we're going to go under here, and so let's start with this box. It has all my new pastel pieces in it. I have a box of unbroken ones, but this is mostly bits and pieces. Again, some are mine, some were my husband's, some were my father-in-law's. The next box, I will show you this one too. It's heavy though. So this is my smaller box of pastels. The bigger one is right there, but this is the smaller one, and I'm just going to open it up so you can see all the pretties because they're so pretty. And of course the other side has the other colors in it. And I'm just going to move this out of the way so I can keep going. Then I have a clear piece of acetate I use for painting, acrylics and stuff to put paint on. Lazy Susan for alcohol inks. This box, which I got from my parents many, many years ago. I think it was a picnic basket. It's full of all sorts of pastel related stuff. I like these cloths when I work in pastel. There's some extra pastels that aren't in my boxes. Some new pan pastels and these old Conti crayons that we got when we were kids. And down there somewhere are the rest of the new pastels are in there too, the ones that aren't cut up. And then over here in this box, I think, in this box is shoelaces. And this thing that fell is full of Q-tips because, and odorless thinner that I use when I do oil pastels. This box has some cute fabrics in it to make bags. That's why they're set there, to make a dumpling bag, which I use for knitting purposes. Put that back in there. These are full of Winsor & Newton watercolor markers, all color coordinated to the color of the lid. I'll open the rest of them. I think this has medical tape in it that I use to tape down paper. That's got a knitting project in it with some yarn left that I haven't had to get into yet. new set of oil pastels that are supposed to be really nice and creamy. They seem to be. I haven't gotten very far with them yet. This little bitty one up here has my Miscellaneous in it. I don't have very many of those. Love to get more. And then the top box has some oil pastels in it. The next box down has a set of really bad oil paints. And then this is Mungyo oil pastels in that box. In the box with the orange, the black box with the little orange flip-up things, that is Rembrandt medium hard pastels. Or medium pastels. They're medium, considered medium. I don't use them a whole lot. I used to, but I have ones I like a lot better now. And the two boxes underneath are full of acrylics, tubes, and that kind of thing. So I don't think I'm going to drag those out, try and show you. And then we're going to go over here to the alcohol ink cart. We'll start with the one in the back here. That was where the little trash can was, and these are full of different alcohol mostly, or my own version of a blending medium is in some of them. And then I have my various tapes, various containers. These are intended for watercolor because they have a little sponge in them, and then these ones are just empty that I could put salt in, or I could put water in, or put them in small kits. These are little sticky things to stick like little half pans and such into a palette, that kind of thing. Down here I've got a pile of puppy pee pads that I use for my alcohol ink because it works really well on the surface. This is full of stuff for my airbrush, so that's in there. Down here also we have my compressor for my airbrush, and I love my airbrush. It works really well, and I'll swing around here, and I use that for alcohol ink. I don't ever spray anything with it but air, but I love it for that. It works really nicely. And I have these little cup holders on the side. This is the pearls. I'm not really fond of the pearls. I don't use them very much, but it holds my blow dryer in this container. I like that. Works really well, and I do that all the time. I use that. These are the mixatives. These are the new Tim Holtz colors. And then these are all the various and sundry older colors. There's a mix in here. There's a little bit of artsy. There's a little bit of mostly Tim Holtz. A little bit of pinata. I have some pinatas in here. I'm trying to go to the right. Yeah, there we go. Some Copic refills. Those work really nice. These little plastic trays from the dollar store work really nice too. This is my main alcohol thing. And this is for fingernail polish, and it works really well for alcohol. You just push down on it like that, and it brings up a little alcohol to use. So I have one of those, and I have a travel one also that my sister gave me. And that is all on the bottom here, is anything to set up a travel set. There's the little fingernail polish thing. My makeup wipes or sponges that I use all the time. Then these things for blending are all in that box over in the corner there. This is to open containers if they are stubborn. More gloves at the ready. The middle shelf has some markers. It's got my pinata cleanup solution. This spins, and it's got straws and Q-tips and all sorts of things in it. These are blenders also. My X-Acto knife blades, some eyedroppers, more eyedroppers. I have a bunch of those. So that's my alcohol ink stuff. We're going to go over here to this little cupboard. I think I missed it. I missed her. That's my kitty, one of my kitties, Princess Zelda. So anyway, we have down here this little cupboard, and it's got boards and leftover backings from pads of paper and such that I use as a surface, a hard surface, if I want to tape some paper to something smaller, and I use it to make covers of small notebooks and things. That's a bigger one. Then this is got subway tiles in it, little subway tiles, and I've got a couple boxes of that I use to make magnets, which I'll show you when I get over to where my magnets are. This hat box is full of, I can't pull it out with one hand, it's too heavy. It's full of plates and stuff that I can use as mixing palettes. This little guy, this little thing is full of old paper towels that aren't quite given up their usefulness, so I use them for alcohol ink until they are dead, and then I get rid of them. These magazines and books I use for collaging and mixed media when I do it, which is pretty rarely, but once in a while. And the basket has laptop cases in it, soft-sided ones. This is full of little scraps of paper from making monster patterns, and I use it when I do appliquing. I put it underneath the fabric when I do eyes and noses and things. That is a paper sampler pack that I got in college. And there's some paper back there that was a sample pack too that was my mom's scrapbooking stuff. This is full of bits of ribbon. The one underneath it is full of paper pads and metal tins and things that are waiting to get painted on. This black box here is full of, get that out of the way, it's full of wire and jewelry making stuff for all the wire-based stuff. There's even more down there. That's what's in that. And then we'll head over here because I think I missed this part underneath the ironing board. I did not go into detail on what's under here behind the iron, so I'm going to show you that. This has got my other iron in it and some pressing cloths. And this has some hams that you use for pressing. They're like ironing hams or something. This has my steamer in it, and a little tiny iron. So that's what's in there. And up here I have my silhouette machine and my knitting needles and some yarn tucked in the corner, a little bit of fringe in that container, a ball winder, a cute little bird my daughter got me for Christmas. The front box is full of tools, like files and things like that are in here in this old antique pencil box. And then up top I have a yarn project and my Swift for winding yarn, and more yarn in the corner, and some more current patterns, lots of wine stoppers, corks for whatever project I decide to do. Friend made me that Day of the Dead skull, and back there you can see I have a whole box of little skinny ribbons, and some string I bought. Shoot, I think that might have been at American Scientific too. and a shawl pattern that a friend got me. Good friend. I haven't done yet. And the crazy cat lady was at my sister's thrift store and that she works at for the hospital in Burbank, the children's hospital. And so she snatched that and gave it to me. There's one of my monsters. That's a sample of what they look like. I'll put a link in at the back at the end of the video. You can go to my shop and look at all my monsters if you're interested. These boxes have, let's see, that one's full of notebooks that have things in them already. The thing that says glass is full of hanging hardware like hooks and things. The notebooks, the sketchbooks up there they're all sketchbooks, and they're all full old sketchbooks used. And then this is full of little buttons and some frogs, like the snail and the frog and the turtle are flower frogs that you would put into an arrangement in the bottom of the vase, a clear vase hopefully, and you can stick the flowers through the holes. They're little antique things, which are kind of fun. And then over here, this little blue thing has paper clips in it, and there's some bowls for pouring, for doing some paint pour, watercolor paint pouring. And I have various wires. Not really sure what I'm going to do with them, but that's why they're there. They're just there. Sketchbooks, reference materials, that kind of thing. Notebooks. That's what's all in there. This guy is full of lead for my big lead pencil that takes the really big wide stuff. And then that is old phone cases. And the white stuff is heat and bond. And then I have more of that here, this iron-on Pellon, because I use that a lot for my monsters. And there's scraps of that in this drawer too. And then I got this cute thing at Aldi to hold bags, and it's holding a small amount of my bags, but it's trying. I have a lot of bags. And then over here, we're going to go over here next. I've got this cute little thing full of really fun yarn. And in the things up on top, I'm not going to climb up there and open them. The one on the left is full of crochet thread, and the one in the middle is full of some really cool buttons that I've collected. And the one on the right, I can't remember what's in that one. I think it might be... oh no, the one on the right is full of buttons. The one in the middle is full of leather strapping and stuff for jewelry making and such. And I used it for costuming. I did a lot of dance costumes, and I have a lot of things from that. Then I have all these cute little guys in my little yarn thing. From the dollar store and from Target. And then I found this cute guy at Salvation Army. And then I found this cute guy at Salvation Army. So they had to come home because they kind of went with everything else. Let me go into this real quick because it's not a lot, not real important. But this is all my little Ziploc bags of all sorts of sizes. And then some loose bags that came off different products. And another magnet for the ceiling if I need to move my sky float somewhere else. And this is wedding invitations for my son's wedding and various paper things for notebooks, old business cards. This is full of crochet thread, spools of that. This is full of leftover DK weight yarn, bits and pieces. And this is full of more worsted weight bits and pieces. I have a lot more than this, but this is what's in these drawers. And then down underneath the last drawer, I have my paper cutter stuck under there, my rotary cutter. And then I'm going to go to the turn and go to the middle. And I have my two, I think every artist has Alex drawers. I have 2 sets of them. And they're underneath a table that my husband made. And we got these legs at IKEA and got the casters that would allow us to be able to slide these Alex drawers right underneath. So it all rolls and it all comes apart. And it works really well. And I have cutting boards and a tray on the top shelf on top of this side. And then this is all my silhouette stuff and all my notes about my silhouette stuff in that drawer. And in this drawer, it is all my alcohol ink pieces, paper to work on the back of, that prints I did for, that did not, the color balance wasn't right, so I can use the back to do some ink practice on, and all my different materials for inking on, other than the Yupo that's underneath the cupboard. This is full of miscellaneous stuff. These are rubber eraser pads to carve into, and these are all the tools are in here to carve with. And this is full of information I've collected from various art products I've had, a little brayer, a little plastic sheet. This one has got a pencil roll and some markers, fabric markers, and these little things that came with my markers that I just couldn't throw away, and I'm not sure what I'll do with them. Wet erase markers, various colored pencils, a tube squeezer, all sorts of things like that. This is the dry erase tape that I use to mark my boxes. My sister gave me that for Christmas. And this drawer has, all the tools for drawing and cutting. It's my paper cutter and triangles and the circle templates and little cutting boards and things like that. When you have two people that went to art school, we have a lot of that kind of material around here. And then this last drawer is full of pads of various art papers, tracing papers, Bristol board, palette paper, that kind of stuff. So that's what's on this side. And now on this side, on our way there, we have this ribbon holder that I designed and asked my husband to build, and he nicely built it for me. And all of my ribbon spools are on dowels and then just clipped on either end, so I can move them and take them off and get to any one I want if I use it all, or if I need to put another one on. And anything that came on a spool like that got on this thing, and it runs the distance from one side of my table to the other. And then over on this side, my other set of Alex drawers. And the bottom drawer, I have various paintings, sketchbook revival stuff. Some from a class I took with Angela Fair. Some from a class I took with Alan Picard. That's all in there. And then I have some various sketchbooks, good ones and not so good ones, and some gray paper and brown paper. In this drawer, I have my good paper. I have some arches. I have some various sketchbooks. Again, this is a Shizhen watercolor sketchbook. This drawer's got more watercolor paper. This was a sampler pack from Jackson's that I got when I placed an order. Those are all little palettes of various watercolors, and some loose paper for, what do you call it? Collaging, that kind of thing. Some more scraps of watercolor paper. This is long, skinny Shizhen paper and some pieces of Fabriano and some more Shizhen. It's a really nice, soft, what do you call it? Rough paper. It's really cool. This is full of tissue paper because I use it when I make monsters for patterning. And then on top of this one, I have this thing that's got my two light tables in it. I have two different light tables. One works better than the other. That's why I have two. And then I have my magnetic cutting board with my magnetic ruler that works wonderfully. And a big giant ruler. That's kind of nice. And let's see. Then on top of here, I have my roll of paper that I use when I do patterning, when I'm making monsters. And that comes in really handy in my little antique fabric weights and some clips. So that's nice. And then we have near the closet, I have a bag of stuff. This is where I put anything in here that needs to go downstairs. If it needs to go downstairs, I'm trying to put it in that bag. An extra little place for someone else to sit, because occasionally there's more than just me in here. Nice big trash can. A magnetic board with these are the magnets I make out of the little tiles that I showed you. And then I've got this cute little painting that someone made that my daughter got for me at Pike Street in Seattle, because my son used to live there. And then I have another painting up there that I did of mushrooms. That's kind of cool. And now we're in the closet. This big, beautiful hank of yarn my daughter-in-law's father gave me for Christmas when we were down there. They got married up here, and then they got married in Chile and with her family, and so we were down there at Christmas. Let's see if I'm going to start at the top. I think that's all my canvases and those mounting boards like that you can mount a drawing painting to. Another thing for markers, to hold markers, some yarn, and then under the yarn is flaxseed, and there's lavender in there to stuff monsters. I have some monsters that are stuffed with lavender that you can heat in the microwave, and that's what that's for. And lots more yarn tucked in the corner. You probably can't even see it. Two more things of yarn. More yarn up there. The 3 buckets on the top are full of yarn. The thing on top of that is full of leather pieces. And then down here, I have a box of Sharpies, some press and seal plastic wrap, more yarn, and yes, more yarn. The white is cardstock that goes in directly into 2 different sized plastic bags that I use to hold my pastel paintings. And then I have small mats and boards and bags in that box. And then above that, I've got some cool stamps. In the cat bag, it's got all my Prismacolors in it. Well, it's got a set of Prismacolors in it because we have a box, like a shoebox full of Prismacolors in the basement that are redundant to what's in there. Because, like I said, between him and I and my father-in-law being an artist, we have lots of Prismacolors too. And then this is white mats, and then we have black mats, and then miscellaneous mats. And then this red box has got more yarn in it, and on top of that is the plastic things that go, that the whiteboards go into. And then I have more yarn and more yarn. And that's the rest of the alcohol markers that I have up here. There are more in the basement and more that my husband has. This black thing has got long, skinny knitting needles in it, old ones that I don't really use, but they're kind of cool. And then I've got more yarn and more yarn and more yarn. The gray bag has printed off reference material that I use for my art class, for my students and for myself. And the brown bag on top of that has circular needles and stuff for knitting. Not my good ones, but the backup bag. Then that's some quilt batting, a chunk of that there. And the box underneath that is full of extra alcohol ink. And the box under that is full of jewelry making supplies for my alcohol ink. And then the big box is full of lots of alcohol ink, little bits in each bottle for when I teach a workshop in alcohol ink, which I've done a few times. And that's what that is. That was what I was doing before COVID, and then COVID hit, and so haven't done it since. But these are all my monster patterns. They all have a name. That's why they're alphabetized. And that's what's in all of those. And then in the yellow one on the far right is full of my stencils. So it's full of stencils. And anything that would act like a stencil. And then the ones on top are my inventory and stuff for that keeps track of where different monsters are, what store they're in, etc., what I sold, that kind of thing. This is all my stuff to be mailed, to use to mail things for orders and such, and all my stickers and prints and my labels for when I go do shows, all my monster labels, and all my product has a label on it. This white box is full of magnets, like I showed you. That's all packing materials in the corner. This is twill tape. I made a backpack for my big set of pastels. The box I showed you goes in it. And I used the twill tape to make the backpack. I will show you that sometime too, but not today. These are my two sets of markers. The blue bag, the turquoise bag, is full of all sorts of ones that I have hobbled together. And the top one is Sanyoki, that's what it is. These are Ohuhu. These are the big Ohuhu wide markers, one set of those. This is some yarn I got that I pulled because I might make something for the baby out of it. A big thing of lace trim. Big thing of cording. These have, two of them have buttons in them, and one of them has bottle caps in them, because I've just saved bottle caps. I have a clipboard, which I have more of those that haven't made their way back up here yet. This was my mother's, and a lot of the stuff in it was my mother's. So paper punches, and then I added mine, two of them. So I've got quite a few. Various Fiskars scissors. This one's pretty empty. When I was cleaning, I didn't put anything in that one yet. This is if I want to mount a pastel piece to a piece of acid-free foam board. That's what this is for. And then in these two boxes are some of this stuff, the wire binding stuff. These are big black ones. These are littler silver ones, and then these are smaller ones that my sister gave me when we traded, because she bought some different sized ones than I did. And that's my little cinch machine. And I love that thing. I've had a good time with that. This is more pieces of fabric, little bits and pieces and more fabric. And then it's an empty box. Woo! On this door, I have more bags hanging. I got that bag from my mom for Christmas so many years ago. I wouldn't even venture to tell you. And behind this I have a bunch of it's plastic. Sometimes it's metallic, and you peel off the blue stuff. And you can paint on it, and it makes a really lovely surface for alcohol ink, and it's very lightweight. And I'll show you one that I painted. I'll point it out when I'm out of the closet here. I can't think. Dye Bond. That's what it's called. Dye Bond. And then this is anything that's big and flat. Some pieces of foam core, some pieces of this plastic material that I use as to paint on. Not to paint directly on. I put paper, tape paper to it and paint on that. Big sheets of Fabriano Artistico in here. I'm not painting this very well, sorry. Sheets of Fabriano Artistico, these plastic things. Some bigger sheets of Dye Bond, some different colored Fabriano Artistico. That's all in there. I think I've got some prints of monsters in there too. And then over here, these are full of various fabrics that I have found that I just really like. Some of it's from Pearl Soho. Some of it is from Joann's or various places. This was my, this little brown thing was my grandma's. My camera died. I had to go to my backup. So this was my grandma's, this little chest, and I haven't really cleaned it. I've added things to it. There is the rest of my presser feet for my sewing machine. And this is full of buttons and sorted things, and this is full of bias tape. Some of it's mine, some of it's grandma's. And over here, I've got another box just like this, and this was grandma's. This has got all sorts of things in it. Grandma's buttons, my bead containers, grandma's thread, and more grandma's stuff. Some of it's mine. That black box was mine, but and then over here I have more fabric that I have purchased because it was so cute. And then I have things that I keep over here that are tubular. This is for wrapping stuff. More foam to use for pastel painting, some brown paper, some tracing papers and things, some contact paper. I think it's clear contact paper. And a big jug of glue to make gesso out of. And then over here, I have the basket with my Velcro, the basket that's got all sorts of little braided rope and stuff in there, cording, belting. That's full of elastic. This big box is big mat board and mats. This is big photographic paper, and 8x10 or 8.5 by 11, and then 5 by 7, I think. And it's all the Kirkland photo paper, so you can do alcohol ink on the back side of it, which is why I have all that. Some dusting stuff, and then these two things that roll out. I don't know if you can see back there. That is full of beading stuff, and this one is full of beading stuff because I've been doing that since I was 12. And I have accumulated a lot of beads. So that's what's in these. And those just roll back in there so I can get to them when I need to. So, let's see, did I forget anything? These little things have magnets in them. This has got more tag stuff in it. Thought that thing was so cute. Let me go back to the painting I was going to show you. That's on the dye bond. And that's that. And it's really, really light. And it paints really nicely. And I can hear my daughter's cat getting into trouble. What are you doing, Freya? She likes to lick bags. Freya. Freya. What are you doing? Huh? Can you say hello? Well, anyway. Okay, on to the last cupboard, I believe. And this is full to the max, as you would say. The top shelf is mostly office related, as in notebooks, glues, that kind of thing. Little sticky notepads, tape. There's some binder clips in that container. There's charcoal, a little bit of regular tape. That's plastic that you can wrap around things to keep things from moving. Yes, paste. Cleaner, that nice, really nice smelling cleaner I got at Target. The next shelf is mostly alcohol ink stuff. Those are all bottles of 99% alcohol and some glycerin and gloves and dominoes to paint on, and the kills too that I treat stuff with before I paint on it if I'm going to paint on something other than Yupo paper or something like that. Makeup sponges that I use all the time in it, so I have those tucked back there. The next shelf is paper towel and some odd this and that. I think they're spray distress stuff from Tim Holtz, and all my assorted acrylic primers and gessos and things like that. And then over here, there's some more of that, and sprays that I use for either my alcohol ink, or I have tried to use on other things, somewhat successfully and sometimes not so successfully. And then on this bottom rack, it is resin and mixing stuff to mix my own gessos, that kind of thing, some empty spray bottles. The bags, the stripy things, have bags of pencil cases and things like that that I can use to put things in. Underneath is a pile of Yupo paper. I bought a big pile of Yupo paper a few years ago, and I'm still working on it. I hope you enjoyed this tour of my studio. I hope it wasn't too chaotic, and I will see you next time on Dust to My Eye. And feel free to check out my Etsy shop, because a lot of these things are on my Etsy store. You can see my monsters, and I have a lot of prints there too. And I really, really appreciate it if you'd hit the like and subscribe buttons, and the notification button's great. And it really, really helps me grow my channel. And please let me know if you would like to see a video of the other areas in my home where I create. I'd love to show you. See you next time, and thanks for watching.